Hi everyone, my name is Erin Yun, and I'm the author of the middle grade book, Pippa Park Raises Her Game, which came out earlier this year in February. And I'm so glad that y'all are here to virtually join me. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make one of my personal favorite dishes, Kimchi-Jjigae. And since I haven't eaten anything today, I'm eager to get started. So let's get cracking. So for those of you who might not have ever had Kimchi-Jjigae before, it's a traditional and very delicious Korean stew where the focus is on the kimchi, the star ingredient. And I'm half Korean, and as a child, I remember adoring this dish so much that it was kind of like ice cream, and I just never got tired of it. So I'm excited to share this dish with all of you. So to start, I'm just going to walk you through the ingredients needed for Kimchi-Jjigae. You'll need a cup or two of kimchi chopped up into manageable pieces, along with the liquid that it comes with the brine. Then you'll need a couple slices of thick pork belly sliced into bite-sized chunks, about a package of firm tofu, some gochujang, which is just a Korean chili paste that's a little bit mild, but also still brings a little bit of heat and salt, and then gochugaru, which is the heat component that I have here today and adds a nice kick to any dish, along with some green onion, garlic, and then we have a packet of dried anchovy that I'm using for the broth, but if you want to make just a traditional anchovy broth, you can use dried anchovies with the guts removed and toss them into some water. Just make sure to strain them out afterwards. Okay, so now that we have all of our ingredients prepared, let's start on the soup. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make the broth. Again, I'm just using one of these convenient little dried anchovy packs because they are what was at the store closest to me. But if you have anchovies, you can use about 12 of those to make the broth as well. And you just toss them into the pot and boil until the stock becomes a pale yellow color. And so mine has been going for about 15 minutes now. And while it finishes up, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my book. So Pippa Park Raises Her Game is about a Korean American girl named Pippa who receives a mysterious basketball scholarship to her local private school and becomes determined to use this opportunity as a chance to reinvent herself, both to impress her fancy new classmates as well as an impossibly cute crush on the side. It's a book about the ups and downs of family, navigating friendships, first crushes, and above everything else, it's about one girl who, in trying to fit in, learns that maybe she's meant to stand out instead. And of course, the book has tons of Korean food as well, including kimchi-jjigae, so let's get back to that. So our stock has almost finished boiling, and as it just finishes up, I want to chop up this kimchi into a little bit more of some bite-sized chunks. I've done most of this beforehand, but just finishing up on this now. And so the star of the dish is the kimchi, so you want to make sure that it's good quality. My mom actually relies solely on the flavor of the kimchi when making this dish, but I like to add a little bit of gochujang and gochugaru as well for heat and flavor. So we're just gonna chop that up like this. And in Pippa Park, Pippa's brother-in-law is the one who actually makes food for the family, and his go-to is kimchi-jjigae, which is, he always makes it delicious. But Pippa in one chapter actually tries to recreate this dish, and it doesn't go as great for her. By the end, her eyes are burning with all the spices that she used, and it's a little bit of a disaster, so we'll try to avoid that. But in general, making kimchi-jjigae is pretty easy, and a surefire step to making good stew is just starting with good kimchi. So my mom actually got her kimchi all the way from Korea sent by her sister. We didn't have that luxury, but I like this kimchi still. Okay, so we're just gonna take our kimchi and we're gonna plop it into our stock, just like so. So take your cutting board and then capture some of that excess liquid draining off. Slide your kimchi into the pot, like that, and then give it a good stir. And this is just gonna go back on the stovetop while we prepare the rest of our mix-ins. So this is actually my favorite part, is just preparing the mix-ins. And for time, I've already cut up most of these things already, but I'll just walk you through what we're doing. So of course we have our pork belly that we're gonna add, but if you don't happen to have pork belly on you, then you can always use chopped up hot dogs, which might sound weird, but as a kid, I really liked chopped up hot dogs in my kimchi-jjigae. So any kind of meat alternative works. Then we're gonna add in our thick slices of tofu as well. We're gonna save our green onions for afterwards. We're gonna take our garlic and our onions, about a heaping tablespoon of gochujang, as well as a teaspoon of our gochugaru. We're all going to take this over to the kitchen. And there's actually quite a lot of Korean food in Pippa Park raises her game, from tteokbokki to japchae to walnut cakes filled with red bean. In fact, I remember my editor asking at one stage whether I was a food writer, and I replied no. I was just really, really hungry the entire time I was writing this book. But although Pippa Park isn't a book about food by any means, I do think I am drawn to writing about food. It just really kind of connects me to my childhood in a way that I find really comforting. It's almost like even though outside of the house, Pippa might have to deal with anonymous cyberbullies or intimidating boys, or just juggling a dozen different responsibilities, but as soon as she walks inside the home, I know that she's gonna come back to really amazing scents and even better tasting foods. There's actually one bit early on in the book where Pippa gets into a huge fight about her failing algebra grades with her sister, and afterwards her brother-in-law comes by and he offers her snack money to go buy some chocolate pies. But Pippa says that while this is a nice gesture, snacks can't necessarily solve every problem in the world. And while that's certainly true, that food can't solve every problem, I think that certain comfort foods, like this kimchi-jjigae, can at least make you forget about them for a while. So now that we have all of our mix-ins, we're just gonna head over to the kitchen, so follow me. So our kimchi has been simmering in the anchovy broth, and now we're just gonna add in our pork belly. So we're just gonna toss that right into the bowl, give that a little mix, and then we're gonna wait until this starts to boil. And yum, it's already starting to smell so good in here. I don't know about y'all, but I've been cooking nonstop now that I'm not leaving the house. I already cooked a good deal before, but now I've just been making so many soups, stews, and baked goods that my roommates are beginning to probably think that I've just been like weird or something, I don't know, but I have no regrets about the amount of baking I've been doing. So we're just gonna wait until that boils. And then once it does boil, you're gonna crank it down to a simmer so that everybody in the pot kind of makes friends with each other. And that's when we'll toss in our onion and garlic as well as our heaping tablespoonful of gochujang just directly into the pot. And then you're gonna add your gochugaru as well, just about a teaspoon of that. First, I'm gonna stir in the gochujang. And then we're gonna wait just a little bit on the tofu and the green onions. So I usually toss my green onions right when the dish is done, and then I usually wait until about maybe like 10 minutes after this has been cooking to add in the tofu. So we'll just kind of turn down the heat on here because now it's boiling. And so we'll turn that down to a simmer. And then we'll cook that for about 10 to 15 more minutes until the pork has started to get really tender. And then that's when you'll add in your tofu and your green onions. And then you're basically done. You just serve with a bowl of rice and enjoy. So we're gonna wait for this to cook a little bit before we're adding in our tofu. And so I'll see y'all in a second. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes and our kimchi-jjigae is done and my apartment smells beautiful. And so come closer and take a little look at this. So here's our finished kimchi-jjigae after it was done boiling. And now I'm just gonna take a bite of this. That tastes so good. It's warm and flavorful, and that sourness from the kimchi is coming through. It just feels really nourishing and comforting, and as soon as the camera's off, I can't wait to scarf this whole bowl down. But for now, I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed making kimchi-jjigae with all of y'all. I know I had a lot of fun, and so I hope you did as well. And I only wish the technology existed that you could come over here and taste a little bit of this too. So I really do encourage you to try this on your own at home. We'll have the recipe on my website as well in case you want to follow along there. Like I mentioned earlier, Pippa Park released in February, so it's now available to order at your favorite indie or Barnes & Nobles. Plus, if you go to www.pippapark.com, you'll find tons of additional resources like word searches, fill in the story games, language arts guides, and even an Escape Pippa's Bedroom activity, along with things like worksheets to fill out your own book-themed playlist. So please check it out there. Every character I write holds a special piece of my heart, but Pippa Park holds a particularly special piece of my heart. She's a mix of awkward and confident, spunky yet insecure. She wants to know others, but is reluctant to let others know her. She makes wrong choices, but always tries to do right. She has endeared herself to me totally, and I hope she has the chance to endear herself to some of y'all as well. Thank you so much for watching, and please be safe, everyone.